What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson. We are 3 practices in the training camp and 4 days into it. The team has tomorrow off and they're back at it on Sunday for the first time in front of fans. Let's talk about everything. What it do and what's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? What it do, man? My guy Lake will be joining us in just a few. You know, he's been out at every practice so far. So we have a boots on the ground view analysis of everything he's seen thus far. What are your thoughts and observations? The offense got beat up on a little bit. You know, they usually are the ones attacking the defensive side of the ball, but it's good to hear and it's normal to hear that we had a day where the offense didn't just walk up and down the field on the defense. At some point, the defense got to have good days too. But appreciate you, my guy, Jerm. Been a member for 32 months now. 32 months of channel membership. My guy, he's a day one. He's been here since I was talking to 1 or 2 people in the chat. You know, shout out to him. He said shout out to Rio and Lake for the great Commanders coverage. Before me and Lake get into it, though, I got to promote this one more time for the one time. If you were not watching Commanders Kings last night, make sure y'all subbed up to the channel. Me and Oliver, Louis T, and Rico from Street Score. We are doing our first ever live Commanders King podcast show. This is our first live event, meet and greet type situation. It's going to be a season preview, 53-man roster prediction show with you. We're going to be at Crystal City Sports Pub. Sports Pub. I emphasize and I stress the sports pub part of Crystal City. It's not the restaurant. It's not the titty bar or gentleman's club. It is Crystal City Sports Pub. We will be there on August 24th. That's the Sunday, the day following Washington's preseason finale against the Baltimore Ravens. The next day, 5 o'clock, the doors will open. The event will start at 5:45. We'll be going for 4 hours to about 9 p.m. Good food, good drink. Come get everything. Tickets are $45. We are selling 150 tickets. You get them now. The link is in the chat. Scroll up to the top of the chat of this specific stream right here. It's going to be me, Lou, Rico coming all the way up from the A. He coming up from ATL to be with us, and my guy, Ed Oliver. We're going to have a great time. We're still going to be live streaming the show. So those of you at home who can't make it out, it will be there for y'all as well. But we're going to have DJs, the whole 9, and we're going to be having a little stage set up. It's going to be a live podcast type thing. I would love if some of y'all could make it out to it. If you can't, hit us on the next one. We're trying to build a rapport and get a thing going where we can host live watch parties and stuff during the season as well. But let me do a little, the link is in here though. I got the link. It's right there. That is the link in the chat. So scroll up where you see that. That is going to be the link where you could buy the tickets and the information, and the parking is going to be right on the back side of Crystal City Sports Pub. But my guy Lake is just checking in. I can bring him on and we can get to it.
What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? Sound and everything good on your end?
Yep, sounds great.
Hell yeah, man. How you doing this afternoon, Lake?
I'm good, man. Good to be back home. Just after being out there all week since Monday. So we have tomorrow off. So yeah, I'm a retool a little bit.
You got the right microphone selected because it sounds a little like a pinch, like distorty a little bit. Make sure it doesn't have like your headphone microphone as the one selected on the audio
right.
setting.
You're right. That's what it was.
Yep.
That's much better.
Yeah, it sounds better now. Yeah, it was probably selected as like the headphone mic.
There we go. That's better now.
Yeah, we're good to go, man. How you doing, Lake?
Yep. Does that sound better?
Yeah, it sounds much better. It's clear, it's crispy now, man. How you doing, big dog?
I'm good, man. Just just being out there all week, man. It was hot. So, being able to get back home today and retool, I'm good.
Yep. Oh, so you've been out there for 3 practices. They've been there for 4 days. Let's start with today and then work our way into like total observations you've seen. The
Mhm.
offense, from what we're reading, the first couple days of camp is obviously getting the better of the defense. But today, the defense came out and had a different intensity. What would your boots on the ground view of today's practice be?
I mean, it's the thing, not just even today. I think they both have had moments where the offense has had big plays, but the defense has had big plays as well.
Mhm.
Um, I will say this: Jaden Daniels looks just phenomenal. That's the word I would say. So clearly, the offense is always going to have that, always have that edge because number five. But there was times where I saw Dorrance Armstrong living in the backfield, making big plays. There are times where I see, Trey Amos, making plays, on the back end, and Mikey Sanders still. So I mean, today maybe a little bit more to defense, but I don't think it was anything alarming. I don't think I've seen anything that looks unbalanced like in years past, Rio, where it was like the offense couldn't hike the ball because the defensive front four at the time was all over them. And then we were asking the question, was that defensive front four, either they're going to be great. This is talking about the Chase years and Montez Sweat years with John Allen and Deron Payne. Either they're going to be great or the offensive line was terrible, or a combination of both. And it was combination of both. Not that good on the defensive line, and the offensive line at the time was terrible. I'm not seeing that now.
Oh, so you mean to tell me, late, we shouldn't panic because Jaden threw a couple picks in practice today?
Come on, man. I mean, I could even see things now like maybe they're telling him to do some other things because he just like all week long. I hadn't seen him throw a bad pass. I mean, it was maybe one or two, but they weren't intercepted, or they wouldn't have been intercepted even on a Sunday.
Not a
It
harm's
was
way.
it was yeah, it was just out of harm's way. But his reaction to those two throws show you everything because he was mad, because he wants to be perfect. So, man, I'm just telling you, man. I've been impressed with the intensity of their practices, Rio. They've been going at it.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love to hear the intensity because there's a team who's seen its most success in over 30 years. There's a
Hmm.
team that's not resting on its laurels or happy because they almost made it. Like I made an analogy yesterday. They're not satisfied with just being the bridesmaid. They're trying to walk down the aisle themselves. They're trying to keep it going. That intensity, like I think it was Candy that was like, this don't feel like no Thursday morning practice. She was like, this is a little intense. Like,
Yeah,
I love to
man.
hear it.
Yeah, man. I mean, like she was with me when she put that out. We were literally just standing there talking about it, and I'm like, this looks crazy, man. Like they've shortened practices. Obviously, today everything was moved up. Dan spoke to us at 7:30 in the morning. So practice started at 8, and it was because of the heat. The heat index. So they do everything right, man. But their thing is no need in having guys practice 2.5 hours, 3 hours. They get them in there. They practice for an hour. They practice for an hour 30 at times, but normally it's an hour. And in that hour, there is no wasted energy, no wasted space. Guys know what they have to do from just position drills to when the horn blows, and now they're running 7-on-7s or 11-on-11. Everything is scripted, everything is precise, and they're getting after it. They're letting these guys play with their ears pinned back.
One of my main takeaways is that everyone seems so composed. The mission seems to be very clear, and just the confidence oozing from so many people. We got all these future first ballot Hall of Famers walking around the building, and everyone's presser. It's the same vibe, same temperament. This feels like a contender. I'm not used to this here, Lake. Like, does the vibe feel different this year? Because this don't even feel like last year's vibe. This feels like not like, oh, we know where we want to go and we're headed there. This isn't a startup program anymore.
Yeah, it's a quiet confidence. Like when they come off the field and guys will come over, dap you up, whatever that or you might pull some guys aside and to interview them. But it's like guys are making, I don't want to say a beeline from the field to the locker room, but there's just no wasted energy. I mean, it's like practice is done, they come up, guys speak, and then they keep it moving. But it's almost like it's just workmanlike. That's the word I would use. It's workmanlike. They're out there. They're very efficient. They get what they need to get, and when it's done, they go inside. But they're all going together. It's just a camaraderie that's real. And Dan Quinn said it. I think it was before yesterday's practice. He told us that obviously this isn't for everybody. They go out and get players that they want, not guys for other NFL teams, guys that they know would fit and work in Washington. And his words were, they don't give you a whole lot of BS. That's what he said. You know what you're going to get. They push guys, they ramp up practices, and you can tell the results from last year because you practice like you play. And how many times did we hear about Club J and all that stuff and
Yeah.
all the other things, or the practices were way too hard? We heard at some point. And then the results on Sundays they were cheeks. And then now you see this new setup, and over a second year of it, it's intense, man. Like it's real. It's not for everybody. I can assure you that. But it's no taskmaster stuff. It's all like, you have that coach. Everybody has that one coach they love that you could play for because he's always giving you positive encouragement and reinforcement, not tearing you down for what you don't do. And the reason for that with Dan Quinn doesn't put guys in positions to not be themselves. And Bobby Wagner said that.
Yep.
If you're good at something, he's going to make you great at it. If you're terrible at something, they're never going to ask you to do it second time.
Yep. And he said, like, one of the main takeaways I took away from Bobby's was they're not going to force you to be someone else
That you're
just to
not.
fit their program. He wants everyone to be themselves, but buy into what they're selling. They're not trying to force you to be out of character or anything like that. Everybody just seems to have this one aligned dialogue. Everything makes sense. And it feels like there's a new standard here in DC. There hasn't been a standard for quite some time, Lake. There has not. It's just been, we're kind of just freestyling culture and hoping it works out on Sunday. That is no longer the case here in DC. Appreciate you, Sean, for the $9.99 super chat. You got 2 tickets last night. I appreciate you, man. I hope y'all pull up for this live event we got going on next month. But while I got Lake here, I want to talk about some of the players that have stood out at practice so far. First, I want to talk about a guy that we have high expectations for this year, a guy we traded for at the trade deadline. He's lighter, he's healthy, and from the videos and clips we've seen, he's been flying around. What does Marshawn Lattimore look like out there for these first 3 practices?
Man, Marshawn doesn't look like the same person, let alone player. I mean, he looks thin. Like he lost weight. He's in shape, and he's got that number 2 on now, so it makes him look even thinner. But he's
Numbers do
moved. Yeah, he's moving well. There's no signs whatsoever of a hamstring. He's done every drill, everything. He hasn't taken any time off. So he's out there and he's battling. And the times when you see him and Deebo, there's something to watch. Ja'Cory Brooks was was with Marshawn a lot recently, and Ja'Cory was doing all right. Now I'm not going to sit here and say he wasn't. He was holding his own, but Marshawn, he's one of those veterans that you could tell he's working through his stuff right now. You know what I'm saying? He's out there with the team doing everything they ask, of course. But he's one of those guys that when the lights come on Sunday, that's when the attitude comes with him. Right now, he just low key, he chilling. It's camp. Same thing with like Von Miller. You see Von Miller out doing his thing, and but like he said, he can pass rushing his sleep. Waking up out, getting out of bed, he can do that. That bend is something.
We've never had that. I've never seen that here.
I've never seen it. Never seen it. And in the first day, man, I mean, seriously, like you go back to Wednesday, I was just like, look at this dude, man. And he looks great shape. I'm just, bro. I'm when you say you haven't seen this before, it's it's a real thing now, man. Like the expectations are real, and now you really are, cheering for a Super Bowl contender because they really, really are. Will they get there? That remains to be seen. But that's the objective, not lip service objective. Where in years past you would hear, we could be good, we could be good if this happens, if that happens. This team is more so good. The only way they can be bad if this happens or that happens. They're not going to be a bad football team. They're a really good team.
Not a chance. I don't see bad football team have. There would have to be a lot of things that take place for us to get there. But just because we got to touch on this, it is important. But I want to keep it mostly on the field stuff. The elephant in the room, Terry McLaurin. He is now held out for 4 consecutive days, day 0 and the first 3 practices. That is up to a $2,000 team fine so far. How close do you think, or how many more practices do you think Terry will hold out till at some point maybe he caves and shows up, or do you think that contract needs to be signed before he touches that practice field?
I think the contract will be signed when he comes out. But if I were Terry, I'd be there Sunday. And I say that because it's fan day. We haven't had any fans at practice all week.
No.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's by design, by the way. Get the work in, do what you got to do. But Sunday, back together weekend, all the networks will be in town. I mean, it's just the way it is. And I think it would be a good look for everybody if Terry was there. But all I'm saying is to Terry is, man, people keep thinking I'm hard on Terry. And we've gone through this, you and I, with fans saying we were dogging them,
Yeah, like we hate Terry when we were just
no,
being
we were
real.
just speaking
Right.
facts, man. And now you see, okay, no contract right now. For everybody out there saying this guy was top 5, and I said last year he had a top 5 season. Yes, he 100% played as a top 5 receiver last year,
Mhm.
but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's a top 5 receiver all the time. And I think in this situation, man, I'm telling you, I think when you see the fact that James Cooks is in Buffalo's camp, Michael Parsons is in Buffalo's camp.
In Dallas, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, in Dallas's camp. You think about those things. Those guys don't have to be there either. And you might make an argument that in their specific position, they're, top 2 or 3. Now you're talking a whole different thing, but yet they're not holding out. So I just think that this thing with Terry, it's messy right now, and it's not messy on Washington's part. I'm Everyone keeps saying you're siding with Adam and them. I'm siding with reason and common sense. That's what I'm siding with, and I think that if Terry wants to get paid as a top 5 receiver or maybe top 6 receiver, I don't think it's doable or feasible. Not because he's not one of those. It's because of the age. By the time that contract kicks in, it would be 32 years old. And fans don't like hearing this stuff, Rio. They're like, man, I don't care. He's been the face. He's been through it all. He's been through everything. I get it, but this business isn't about giving lifetime achievement awards.
Yeah, and this is how businesses work. Like people keep saying, I don't care about the age. Tariq Hill's like the only guy making that type of money at 30 plus, and Tariq Hill had 1,799 yards 2 years ago. There is a vast difference. He's an idiot off the field. He's not near the man and the person Terry is, but these things matter when it comes to negotiation table. It feels like as we get closer to a contract potentially getting done, we're talking 29, 30 million range.
I think 30 million. I think 30 million will get it done. I just, the numbers have gone down and down and down, and now that kind of where they are, I could see, like I said, in one of my articles I wrote for Heavy, I said I could see his folks asking for 32 to 34 in that range because of the players that are in that range, and DK Metcalf jumps off the board. Terry's had a better career than DK Metcalf. I don't think anyone's debating that. But DK Metcalf, although they were in the same draft class, is 2.5 years younger than Terry. 3 years. That's That's a big difference,
Those
man.
things matter, man. They
It
matter.
100% matters. 100% matters, and that's what we're dealing with here. Everyone wants Terry in Washington. We want him back. The team wants him back, but they can't break the bank for a guy that when the contract kicks in will be 2 years older than he is today.
Yep. And I think it's a good sign that something could get done in the foreseeable future is that he hasn't left. Like Trey Hendrickson, he took his ball and went home. He went to Florida. Like he left. He was in Ohio this whole time. As soon as training camp started, he went to Florida. Terry is right up the street. They saw him at yoga the other day. He's waiting on the phone call from Adam to come sign it. I know the type of guy Terry is. I know he's itching to get back out there with him.
Man, listen, and Terry's smart enough to understand too that you don't want to sit out and sit out and sit out, and then you come back and you have a soft tissue injury or something like that. This guy's intelligent. He knows what he's doing, and both sides want this to work. There's no dissension here. There's no Washington doesn't view him as valuable. They know who he is, but it has to make sense financially for everyone. I think by the time we're having the conversation on Friday of next week, he's in camp. It just wouldn't behoove me if tomorrow on our day off things get done. I wouldn't surprise me at all, and you see him out there on Sunday or Monday.
That would be phenomenal because I want Terry in the building when we do joint practice with the New England Patriots the week we play that preseason game. I don't care if any of these guys play in the preseason, but these joint practices
Are
are like our
important.
test runs for the regular season. That's where we get our 100% teamwork versus another franchise. And I want to see that, man. Like I remember being there when Brady and company came to town for joint practice. I remember Robert couldn't complete a screen or a
And a
slant.
football from Brady never hit the ground in two
Never touched the
practices.
ground for hours, for hours. And the only time we moved on offense was when Kirk came in with the backup. And I remember having the realization, like, oh my God, this is not going to end up working. This is going to,
Nah,
Kirk's
yeah.
going to be the
He's just
quarterback.
better. He's just better he's just better in the system right
So
now,
I
you
want to
know.
outclass the Patriots this time because I remember how ridiculously outclassed and unserious we looked versus a dynasty.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing Drake May, going up and seeing
Same.
him. I'm looking forward to seeing, just
God.
Jaden's continued development, and I'll say it, if both these guys look good in these joint practices, you might not see them for more than a drive, if that,
I
in
don't.
that preseason game the next night. That you just may not see it. So, yeah, man, but these joint practices are really important. And now that there's one less preseason game, Rio, think about it. Don't tell me that this practices against New England and then Baltimore in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
These things are very important, and I think you get more work because it's more scripted. Like if you know that your defensive secondary is struggling at a certain thing, you can tell the other coaches for the other team, this is what we're working on and we need to work on this, so they're kind of helping each other at the same time as you can evaluate. So I think it's brilliant that the league is allowing a lot of this to happen.
I think the joint practices are like the new quasi dress rehearsal now that there's only 3 games. Because remember, the third game used to be the dress rehearsal game. Teams aren't even really doing the dress rehearsal game. We're seeing less and less starters go out in the preseason, and they're kind of not trying to put guys out there and at risk in these pointless exhibition games. So the joint practice is probably the closest to full regular season speed we're going to see. And we do it twice. We do it with the Patriots. We do it with the Ravens. And those are important. I need 17 out there for those, man.
Yeah, I think that would be important for them to get Terry in there because he can get that work in there. The work that he hasn't had over the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, for not being around, or being out there with all of us. I mean, yeah, you could get that work in there, but I do want him to get some work before the regular season starts. At the end of the day, he's the ultimate professional, but you still want to have that camaraderie building. You still want to have a dynamic with him and Deebo that was already developing in OTA. So for everyone thinking that Terry has never been in Washington, that's not true. He was there working out with the team up until pretty much mini camp rolled
Phase
around.
3. He was there
Yeah.
for the first 2 phases in full. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
glad you said that because a lot of the local, I mean, not the local, a lot of the national media, they
Yeah.
don't know that. They are
Yeah, they think
all
he's been gone. He's been MIA. No, he's been there. He's literally been there working with Deebo, working with Jalen Lane, working with Jaden. Yeah, and that's why these guys aren't worried about Terry being able to come in and hit the ground running. Jaden said that the other day to us. He's going to come in and it's going to be like they never missed a beat.
we're not
So
going to skip a beat. And I
right.
believe my quarterback when he says that, so we could just leave the Terry situation where it is. We miss you, 17. We trust you, Adam Peters. Y'all find a nice little kumbaya gray area in between the numbers, and let's talk nothing but football going forward. But going to football, let's talk rookies. The
Mhm.
rookie class of 2025. I know we're hearing about Connerly. They're doing the rookie thing where they're ushering him in slowly, but I imagine closer to week 1 we'll be seeing him more with the starting unit. But let's talk the first couple picks. First of all, Trey Amos with the starting defense, Josh Connerly. What have you seen so far? Well, with Connerly, we know there's no pads yet, they're only in shells, but how have you saw the first 2-round rookie so far?
I mean, I'll start with Josh. I mean, he's looked really good at times, and then there's some times where you can see, he has to process something a little differently.
Mhm.
And but just think about it. This guy's going up against Javon Kinlaw. He's going up against Von Miller. I mean, bruh, there's no rest for the weary. I mean, Javon Kinlaw is one of the biggest humans. I'm just
Oh yeah,
saying that
that's a
that you'll
fucking
ever see. He's a monster.
dude, man.
And the fact that a young rookie is going up against that consistently, and then going up against a Hall of Fame edge rusher who is still on reserve for everybody to understand. What I mean by that is he hasn't even turned it up yet, and
Yep.
yet he's still putting in work. So I think that obviously Josh is going to get better every day, every practice because of what he's going up against. And then on the other end, he's got a Pro Bowl tackle that he can rely on and pick some, get some information from him, pick his brain, and Laramie Tunsil. So it's a great situation for him. That kid's starting week 1, no doubts about it. And then when you talk about Trey Amos, I mean, he's just a big physical kid, man, and he likes to put his nose in there. Like, he doesn't shy away from contact. He doesn't shy away from breaking on balls. I mean, he's like, he's a rookie, and you don't want to get ahead of yourself. But I'm certain he's going to have an impact like Mikey had last year. They got their bookend corners for the future for a long time, and Mikey and Trey Amos for sure.
Trey Amos just checks all of the like aesthetic boxes for an NFL starting DB. He looks the part, he moves and carries himself the part. He has the frame and the speed, and he's physical off the ball. We've seen all types of different corners come through here the last few years. Trey Amos just looks like, so he's been running exclusively with the ones, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it was a little bit of a surprise, but I think what it is I think it shows even more that Mikey's going to get a lot of work in the slot, so that's what that is, Marshawn on one side, Trey on the other side, and Mikey in the slot. But these guys are all going to be interchangeable. That's the thing, man. No matter who they line up against them on the other side of the ball, they have styles that just you can press, you can play off. They have corners that can break on footballs. Finally, they have corners that have eyes, and it's something that we haven't seen in a long time.
Oh yeah, Mikey Sanders still's catching picks in practice, deflected off of Quan Martin's hands. Tyler Owens is flashing. We're gonna get to Tyler Owens in just a
Like
second.
them
I
a
want to
lot.
I want to work through this draft class first. Hey, y'all are wildin'. No, we're not using makeup over here, man. I'm just losing weight. I got some coconut oil on my face, and we drinking our water, man. We getting healthy. We getting healthy out here in 2025. Yo, that's hilarious, though, man.
That's
But
what's up.
going to the 4th-round pick, Jalen Lane. There are a lot of players that run a 4.2, run a 4.3. They put on pads and they don't look like that. Jalen Lane looks every bit as fast as that 40 that I see. What does it look like in person, and what does he look like so far?
He's always open. I mean, he's sneaky, man. And the thing is, he doesn't look like, you look at Tariq Hill and you see all the movements. You don't really see that with Jalen Lane. You just see him working underneath. You see him on the outside. But once he turns up, it's different. It's like, wow, this guy's got that. He kind of reminds me a little of Anthony Armstrong. I know that sounds crazy. I just mean as far as the type
He
of
was a
speed.
big play waiting to happen.
Yeah, he was, and he just wasn't utilized properly. Anthony was, and he'll tell you that too. But I'm just saying, like, there's something about speed, natural speed, and knowing how to use it. I always say the best guy that I've ever covered, never, watched with my own eyes, that had blazing speed, but utilized it at all times. It was Deshaun. It was Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson was a guy you could get a ball in traffic, and somehow, some way, he's coming out of that. He knew how to use his speed. He knew how to cut. He knew how to when he needed a burst. And I kind of feel like that with Jalen. Jalen's not as elusive as some 4-3 guys that you see make moves and then they go. He's more of a guy that's going to get where he needs to get. And he's got a little power on his frame. So to me, I'm already calling him. I call him Deebo Jr. because he's going to be utilized a lot like Deebo. And now he's got the blueprint on how to be a multifaceted wide receiver, which Deebo is. So I think Jalen Lane, I mean, this is, again, the brilliance of Adam Peters and Dan Quinn of what they're doing. Every player has an upgraded counterpart that they can learn from. It's about these rookies. And then when it's their time, they're going to be comfortable. So, yeah, I'm excited about him. And then, look, Kane Madrano showing speed, at times out there.
I've been waiting to hear the name Kane Madrano. I haven't heard many people talk. Please tell us about Kane Madrano.
I mean, he's an athlete. He's super fast. He's uber fast. And right now, he's learning. He's learning behind some guys. So he's probably the one rookie that I would say would probably hit the field. He'd be the last person to hit the field as far as the rookie class. But I think he's going to get a couple reps, at times this year. I do. And I don't mean a couple. I mean, like, he could get 3 to 4 or 5 reps in a game, situational, depending on the package, because he is athletic. And if anything, while he's learning the techniques of things, that raw athleticism still can be utilized. I mean, they could put him in just blitz someone or put him in the shadow of a quarterback who's mobile because I'm gonna say this. He might be their most athletic linebacker.
He's a playmaker. He's small as hell too. He doesn't
He
have
is.
a
He's a
linebacker.
safety to me. He looks like
Yeah,
a safety,
that looks like a
but
safety.
but I think he's going to be like Cooper is in Philly. They're going to utilize him a lot of like that. Where you can plug him in different spots on the field, up close to the box. Back in the secondary, he could cover some tight ends. That's how they're going to utilize him. And then of course Bill, or Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. I interviewed him 2 days ago, and it was, or yesterday, matter of fact, I interviewed him yesterday.
Yeah.
And he's humble. He's humble, but you can see beneath the layer of that humbleness, he knows. He's like,
hungry.
I'm
He's
like
hungry.
that. I think he knows that. But he was all compliments to Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler as far as them helping him and how they can push each other. And Demetric Felton, man, looks good too. So I'm telling you, they got some situations they're gonna have to figure out because they have more talent than they've had in a long time, especially since last year.
And they released Michael Wiley a couple days ago as the corresponding move after Von Miller was brought in. So, Lake, you've seen these guys out there in the spring and now for a couple days in the summer. We don't want to put unfair expectations on undrafted and 7th-round pick. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt looks like he's going to get carries early and often at some point this season. Is that unfair to assume?
No, I mean it's legit because he's not supplanting Brian as the starting running back. So anyone that thinks that, stop it. It's Brian and Austin for sure. But Ja'Cory is the wild card. He's a guy that you can give touches to, and I mean, listen, he's had runs this already in camp where he took him to the house, and it's not so much that the defense can't cover, can't stop the run because something they struggled with last year. It's just that this guy's cutback ability and his speed
Mhm.
is it's different, and it's not.
You said his cuts are vicious. He has
Yeah,
vicious
yeah, yeah. You know who
cuts.
he reminds me of. He reminds me a lot of Terrell Davis, and I
Mm,
mean that. Terrell Davis, when you watched him run, you didn't realize how fast he was, but he was pretty fast,
deceptively fast.
deceptively fast, but he was also powerful. And I think that that's the thing that stands out to me about Ja'Cory is he's not little. He's got I mean he looks like a baby. You can still see the acne on his face. He's a baby, but he's
Mhm.
not a little dude. And he's a guy that can lower his shoulder. He's shown some physicality in his running style, probably more so than the speed so far in camp.
Jalen Lane has been the only person getting work at punt return so far.
Yeah, he's been out there quite a bit. They've had some other guys back there too, but I think everyone knows Jalen Lane was
He's the guy.
was he was special in college.
Mhm.
Probably the best punt returner in the draft last year. So I think they're going to give him every chance. You'll know it's more cemented if Terry can get in here because right now they need Jalen Lane to play, a lot of receiver reps without Terry, which is helping his game for sure. But when Terry comes in, I think you'll see Jalen Lane really, be able to focus a lot on the special teams aspect.
That and in the slot, I imagine he gets so a good amount of the slot work as well. Going from one Ja'Cory to another, Ja'Cory Brooks is this
Hmm.
year's undrafted free agent candidate that has a shot to make the team. When it comes to the top five receivers on the team, Terry, Deebo, Lane, McCaffrey, Noah Brown, and there's a sixth spot. Michael Gallup, who's the favorite to get the last spot on the team? Who's stopping Ja'Cory Brooks from making this team? Like,
That's a great question, Rio, because Chris Moore's having a decent start to camp. He's had a really nice mini camp. And then you have some other guys out there too.
Osborne.
KJ Osborne had a nice catch yesterday for a touchdown. But I just think youth wins out. I'm sorry, Michael Gallup, hasn't really been out there. When you look at Ja'Cory's been catching touchdowns, and Jaden's been looking for him a
I know.
lot.
That's
Uh,
and I remember a world where undrafted free agents didn't touch the field with the starting quarterback, and this has been a
Not
thing.
at all. And that starting quarterback damn sure wasn't looking for them.
Yeah.
He's looking for this dude. He's looking for this dude in tight coverage. He's looking for this dude when this dude's lined up against Marshawn Lattimore. He's still looking for this guy. And Ja'Cory's had one bad catch. I mean, well, not a catch, one bad drop that should have been another touchdown. But everything else, man, he's been putting in some work. And I'm still trying to figure his game out because it's not like I see something that just jumps off the charts, but what I do see is this guy's always open. He's always catching the football. So yeah, he's helped himself a lot. If you were to ask me right now who's the sixth receiver, I would say it's Ja'Cory Brooks.
Thank you. That's who I want it to be. That's no disrespect or sliding to a Michael Gallup or anybody, but give me the young guy that we could possibly mold into something. He has a archetype that we don't really have in the room, which is a size, possession, stretch the field receiver. He ran a dirt 40, but he somehow separates in the open field. He's football fast enough. In the underwear Olympics, he ran almost a 4.7. It was very Kelvin Harmon like, but he finds the spots in the defense. He separates vertically, and for the most part, he has pretty good hands. He caught a lot of touchdowns in college and ran past a lot of college defensive backs. He played for Alabama and transferred to Louisville, and he was nice over there. So I think the preseason for guys like both of the Ja'Corys, they're the people they're going to be must-see television during the preseason games. The three
Yeah, and they're
preseason.
going to get a lot of work, so
Mhm.
you kind of can see you really get a chance to look at their game, in a microscope, under a microscope, and be like, they can do this, they can't do that. I talked to Ja'Cory, JCM about literally about him catching passes, outside, the hashes and all those things. And if he can do that, and he said he can, and he's hoping that he gets opportunities to show that he can do that. So he's already even aware of something else that could help elevate him to making the roster. So yeah, I think both these guys will be on the roster, and I think that they're young prospects that really have a good opportunity to become really good NFL football players.
And I'm all for adding young talent. We already the oldest team in the league,
Well, that's
So
only
when
because of four
I know.
players.
Yeah,
Everybody keeps saying that, and I'm
I
like, man, you
know.
act like they rolling wheelchairs out every day. If you took those four guys, if you took Zach Ertz, Bobby Wagner, Von Miller,
We're not in the
all,
playoffs.
bro, they might be one of the youngest teams.
We were not in the playoffs last year because them boys got busy for us
Oh
last
no,
year.
there would be no playoffs without
I
them.
can see if we're just throwing a bunch of old players just to have old players on the team, but we're getting stuff out of them, man. Appreciate you, Duncan Wright, for the 11 months of membership. JD better look at tape this year. He's known now. That's cool, Duncan. Just like people have had years of tape on your quarterback, Jalen Hurts, he still performs on Sunday because really good quarterback, you can watch them all day. They watch your defense as well. We're
First of
not
all,
worried about it.
when people say stuff like that,
It's lazy.
As NFL media, I say this: they had tape on Jaden after week one. They had tape on Jaden after week two. They had tape on Jaden going all the way up to the NFC Championship game. They have tape on every player, but certain players are just so good, it doesn't matter. That's why they're considered elite players, and he's one of those guys now. He's an elite quarterback, and every time I watch him now, I look at Jaden for what he was doing now compared to this time last year. Last year, he was beating people with his just outer world athleticism, and he was making really nice throws. But there were times where, it just wasn't there. I haven't seen too much of that now. I mean, he looks really poised. He looks really good. Even when he's under duress, he still makes the right read. The kid is just what he is. He's an elite quarterback. He's a top 5 quarterback, and as long as Washington has him upright and healthy, they're going to have opportunities each week because you can't. You have to look at it this way. For all the people who are saying people have film on him and you should be worried about Washington and their schedule and it may not be what it was last year. Well, I'll ask you this. How many teams are they going to play where number 5 is not considered the better quarterback of the two on the field? That's all you got to do is ask that question.
And it's not going to be many. I promise you that.
Right.
And we saw the worst version we're ever going to see of Jaden Daniels last year. We saw the worst version of this team you're going to see because the team got better on the offensive line. He has more weapons and just, hey, man, good luck on Sundays when number 5 sees you because just like you got tape on him, he's got tape dialed up in his VR machine, and he's ready to go. DB, appreciate you for the 199 super. Jalen Lane plays like Mecole Hardman. I can see that. The way that the Chiefs utilized earlier on.
I think Miko might have a little, just a tad bit more wiggle to him.
Yeah.
Jalen's not the most, he's not stiff by any means, but he's more power than he is elusiveness. But he's got that speed. The speed is real. If he can turn his shoulders, you're in trouble.
It's like Terry. Terry has straight line speed, but he's not juking nobody.
Right, and they're very similar. So I would say, that's a good point. I would say Jalen is. I mean, he's kind of Deebo-ish too because Deebo doesn't really juke people either. He runs by you or runs through you, and that's going to be Jalen. So
you don't want to tackle that with a full head of steam. When
no, absolutely not. Jalen Lane's got some big legs, man. I mean, like he's not no little scatty speed guy. He's more of a power guy with speed. And I'm telling you, he's Deebo Jr. That's who he is. Remember that.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm excited. Tyler Owens, the undrafted free agent that did make the team last year. I don't know if there's a specific spot that they have him pigeonholed at, but they want to get him on the football field. I've heard his name every day of camp so far.
Man, this dude looks good. I mean, when I say he looks good, he looks like he, without question, needs to be on the field quite a bit. The only thing is, the guys in front of him, Quan Martin and Will Harris, look even better.
Love to
So
hear that. Love to hear that. So
they've got great problems here, man. Like, but make no mistake, Tyler Owens is on the roster, and he's going to be a guy that's going to be a big part of things that they do in their secondary.
Man, Tyler Owens looks like a Madden creative player, but he has the shoulders of a linebacker.
He looks like Sean a lot to
He
me.
moves like
Does.
a corner. Yeah, his body wise, man. Like he's his name has been all over making plays, catching picks, and being wherever the football is found. He got banged up a little bit last year, but you saw the flashes in preseason. It's clear they want him a part of some sub packages and everything. Him is he going to be the piece, the next guy on the field in the safety room after Quan and after Will Harris?
No, I would say Percy. I mean, and they just got Percy a 1 year deal,
Extended. He did get extended.
extended deal. Percy, a good football player, man, and I think people don't realize how much Joe Witt loves that
Don't
guy.
say that too loud for our fan base. Our fan base is not a fan.
No, no, Percy, a good football player. I think Percy's been asked to do so many different things in his 2 years
Mhm.
in town, and now he has a share, a role, that he knows what he's supposed to do. But Tyler's just different, man. He's a big dude, and he moves like he runs like a deer, and he's a guy that would have been on the field last year had he not gotten injured. So they bring everybody back slowly to make sure that they're fully ready. But I'm telling you, man. Look, we were just talking about Percy, and then you're talking about Tyler. They've got depth now behind Will and behind Quan, and it helps spell guys late in games. It helps keep guys fresh as the long season goes through. So I'm really excited, man, with what they're going to do with that. And Jeremy Reeves is out there doing some
Yep.
things. So I
Well,
mean,
that's five deep. We
that's
kept six.
right.
We kept six last year. Is the kid from Jackson State, McDaniels, has he shown anything yet? They got him out there wearing number 47. Not much yet.
Not yet. I mean, a
Okay.
play here or there, but I mean,
Preseason
it's
games are gonna
yeah,
matter
yeah,
for
yeah. It's
players.
going to matter, and see, this the first week of camp is the veterans know what they're doing. The rookies are just kind of figuring
Yeah.
some things out. But I think next week you'll start to see some younger guys who can separate themselves from their peers. I think you're going to see some younger guys, start to make some plays out there. And the thing is that it's funny because when I was talking with Brandon Coleman yesterday, I asked him about Josh Connolly, and he was like, he was talking about Josh Connolly asked questions. He's astute, and he was like, and that's what you want from young players. And I'm like, but you're only in your second year. So that's what I'm saying. When we talk about young players, the bulk of this roster is young
Is
guys.
young. Yeah. And
Yeah,
they're young leaders too. These
that's
are
what I'm
young guys that
saying.
carry
Yeah.
themselves so professional. They got a type over here for sure.
Listen, they have a type, and the
Mhm.
type is, I'm gonna tell you what Jordan McGee told me the other day. When I asked him about, obviously you're learning under Bobby and first ballot Hall of Famer and Frankie Louvu, a Pro Bowler now, and I said now you bring in Von Miller, and he was like, I know, right? And I'm like, you could learn from him, the edge rusher tips, things like that. And then I asked him, I said, what is it about Von Miller that stand out to you so far, that stood out to you so far? Do you know what he said? We're talking about a second year player. He said he fits our culture. He fits who we are. He said he's a hunter. He said, and we're all hunters here. We're not to be hunted. We are the hunters. And Vaughn is a hunter. He's coming in with that hunter mentality. And I'm like, damn, like it's a real thing, man. Like they really believe that.
The DQ got these boys feeling like they killers, man. I love
They-
it. I love the way you see the bravado, the tone, and now they got a nice locker room to come in. It don't look like a potluck luncheon in the locker room at the training center anymore. Everything just feels like on the up and up with this franchise, man. It's a beautiful
Man,
thing.
it's different, man. It's different. It's different from the way they treat us. And then shout out to the PR department because they got an award, recognized best PR department, and that's good, man. So it's like everything is on a positive, and that's why for sometimes when people tell me that I'm so upbeat, and I don't say anything negative about the team. No, I mean, if it's look, I said I thought Terry talked too much the other day. That's negative, you
You
know.
you keep it a buck, Lake.
Yeah, but I mean, my thing is, I don't see a reason right now to have to say anything negative
Right.
because I don't see anything negative. They're working really hard. I mean, harder than I've ever seen for the first 2, 3 days of training camp. I mean, they no pads, but you would think they were. They're going at it. And there's a lot of chirping going on, like playful chirping. There's never, these guys don't fight. There's none of that nonsense because they're all cool with each other.
Yep.
But best believe Mikey's in people's faces talking, when they break up a pass, when offense scores, they're letting the defense know it's all about competition, and it's a good competition, healthy competition. So I don't see anything negative to talk about.
With Terry's absence, I feel like this was a great thing for Deebo Samuel's getting acclimated and getting his chemistry
I do
right with
too.
Jaden. He's the number one guy until 17 shows up. Has he looked like it so far? Has he looked like the leader of that room out
Of course he has. First
there? Right.
drills, he goes deep and scores. I mean, I for the life of me, and I've been telling you this for weeks.
Mhm.
All this chatter about this dude being fat is it
Crazy.
was just
Crazy.
asinine to hear people say that. And I'm like, bro, I'm there. There's like, and oh, by the way, kudos to you because, I see you in your pictures, you getting in shape. And,
Yo, here.
that's been a big thing for me over the last year and a half, 2 years. Janine has sculpted me up totally different.
Shout out, Miss Janine.
It's a real thing, man, getting your health and stuff.
We working.
I think I look okay. Don't get me wrong now. 54, I'm okay.
No, you look great.
Man,
Thank y'all for
that Joker Debo, whoo-wee. When I first saw him in OTAs, I said, "Damn, this Joker's humongous." And I didn't mean fat. I meant just like he's a thick dude. He looks like a linebacker running around out there,
Yo, he got
literally.
on like a big ass running back. Like he's always been built like he
Yeah,
came into the league like
that's just him, man. He country thick, man. That's what that is.
Mhm.
He's not fat, and you can see the muscle on the dude. But when you see him run and you see him out there, nobody wants to come up and hit that.
And you
I'm
see how
telling
he
you
be
that
having
right
these
there.
long ass touchdowns. Like to be a bigger wide receiver, he get a bubble, he get a slant, he get a screen. Good night to a DB. Good night to a corner trying to
It's
tackle him.
over. It's over. And he's the only player that I think, when he was in San Francisco, obviously, he kind of struck fear in Philadelphia in their
We
secondary.
used to
I
cook
mean,
them in Dallas. Them in
yeah,
Dallas, he be
yeah, they
cooking
don't
them.
want that, and some of them are still there now. Obviously, Philly's got a much younger group, but I'm telling you, man, like this guy brings something to the table that's going to be amazing. All those jet screens and bubble screens that they used to throw he's
Miami.
gone now to Dayami, and even before that, before Jaden came to town, they used to try to run those things with Ron Rivera and company, Eric Bieniemy. They were throwing them, and it just didn't work because you didn't have the right receiver to do it. This dude, like you said, they're throwing bubble screens basically to a converted running back who has vision and will run up into your secondary, and people do not want to hit that. So I'm excited to see how that's going to work out.
Yeah, man. Him and Lane, Cliff Kingsbury is gonna have fun with those two players, man. Him and Lane, well, we cried about no yards after catch or no playmakers with the ball in their hand. We don't need to try to force that out of Terry now. I don't need to see Terry ever run a jet sweep or anything of the sort ever again. Let Deebo and Lane take that. I'm glad he's looking good so far. I want to talk about a couple second year players on the offensive side of the ball. Haven't heard much about Luke McCaffrey. Have heard some positive things about Ben Sinnott. Talk to me about those two.
Yeah, Luke hasn't done a whole lot yet. He's steady though, and one thing you can say about Luke is you can see he's more comfortable in his route running and knowing what he needs to do. Like you can clearly see the speed of the game slow down. But just luck of the draw at this point right now. The first couple days, his number hasn't been called a whole lot. So nothing against him. It's just the nature of what they're doing right now. Clearly Jalen Lane's made more plays than Luke at this point, and For me, I've already said I think Jalen Lane's going to be their third receiver this year. So that doesn't mean Luke's not going to be a part of the offense, but Luke's probably going to be the fourth receiver. So his time will come in practices, and his time will come during camp where he's making plays, and people will talk about that. Same with Ben. Ben had a really good offseason, and in OTAs and the minicamp, he was killing. Like, he really was. And he looked like, no pun intended, but he did. He looked like a baby Zach Ertz, from
We
back in
need
the day.
we need it.
So he's going to take that step too. I think what we're seeing right now, though, honestly, Rio, is that it's so much talent out there. It's not enough footballs right now. And when Terry comes back, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be hot by that day, hot by whoever's blowing up that day. You're
Mhm.
going to see eating, but it's not going to always be the same person each and every day. Because they don't need that, and they're not going to show you everything with Terry and with Deebo. I can assure you right now, even when they go up against New England and Baltimore, not the games, but the actual practices, they're not gonna be showing much, man. I think Cliff got so much under the hood. It's gonna be scary when it comes out.
Week one, the Giants got to see us first, man.
Oh
Mercy
boy.
on them. Mercy on them. But of those two players I just mentioned, I have so much higher expectations for Ben Sinnott than I do Luke. And also, I don't want to jinx anything, but we got 20 games out of Zach Ertz, who has not got through a full season in a very long time. So we're always a player or two away from Ben Sinnott having to be relied on. The meme where they say, accidentally became important at work and it's ruining my life. I need to know that Ben Sinnott's life is not ruined if he has to go out there and be our inline threat, because we took him in the second round. Like, he's supposed to be the next up.
Yeah, and I think this year you'll see what I think a lot of people were expecting to see last year. Sometimes, man, the way it works, with rookies, and everybody doesn't come in and hit the ground running like Jaden. That's what
Aiden is
makes
a hard position too.
right, and that's what makes Jaden so special. But most of the time, you know, I would say 50% of all rookies that come in the league, it takes them 1 or 2 years, maybe even 2 years to get their feet under them, before the speed of the game slows down. They know their team's playbooks. And I think that happened with Ben last year. I know it did. I'm not speculating. I'm telling you, speed of the game and the playbook, he just, it wasn't all clicking for him. It seems like he's much more comfortable. Jordan McGee said the same thing. Jordan McGee literally said, I feel very comfortable with the playbook now. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. That just comes with maturity and a year of seeing it and seeing film. And, but when you have a Zach Ertz in your position room, best believe Ben Simmons all better for this. Best believe Jordan McGee's better because Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu in his linebacker room. Best believe Josh Conley's going to be better for this because not just Laramie Tunsil, but even a guy like Andrew Wiley, who's been around and been on a Super Bowl team,
He
they're
helps.
going they're going to be able to help these young guys, and that's what Adam Peters and company's doing. It makes perfect sense. I see somebody's talking about Dominique Hampton, one of my favorites. Just ridiculous athlete. Hasn't made a whole lot of big plays yet, but he's steady. And I know with him along with Jordan, they expect those two guys to really enhance their linebacker room with Bobby and with Frankie this year.
For sure, man. I want to see another person on my short list of players I'll be watching closely in preseason, Dominique Hampton. I want to see Hampton. I want to see both Jacory's. I want to see Luke McCaffrey. I don't want to see Ben as much in the preseason because I want to see him actually do stuff on Sundays. But
Mhm.
Luke got to show me something because I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to typecast him. He needs to show me he's not Trey Quinn. He needs to show me he's not Ryan Grant, because that's what I see. And Ryan Grant was relied upon by Jay Gruden. There was always a roster spot for Ryan Grant. He was never going to go out and overly produce, but a third round pick, that's also a premium draft pick. You got to be a contributor at some point.
Yeah, I see. I think sometimes people don't realize Luke's an athlete. He's a really good athlete.
Hmm?
But last year was really like the second year for Luke to be playing wide
Receiver.
receiver,
Yeah,
and
it
he was
was.
doing that as a professional, which means it's a setback. Like it literally is a full year you going backwards now because you played 1 year of it in college at Rice. Remember, this guy was a converted quarterback, so he, converted to wide receiver at Rice, did that 1 year, gets drafted here, has to be a wide receiver here in the NFL. It's a hard learning curve. So I think this year is when you see him kind of have the rookie campaign that people were expecting. You might get 20, 25 catches out of Luke this year. And some people might say that's not enough. Yeah, it is. That would be really good for
I'll
him.
take 20 catches,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, 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 yeah. If he gets 20 to 25, he's doing his job. And
Right.
to go along with Deebo, to go along with Terry, to go along with Jalen, that's a lot of balls to go along with the guys coming out the backfield, and Austin Eckler can catch the ball out the backfield. Brian Robinson's not bad either doing it. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
just, and then of course, Zach Ertz, pencil him down for 65, 70 catches. And that's on the low end. He might even have more because Jalen looks for him. He was killing them yesterday.
He loved
Yeah, Zach made some big plays yesterday in the red zone. So it it just got a lot of weapons now, man. It's something. So yeah, for Luke, he gonna have to show me something too. I agree. That's my guy. Great dude, man.
it.
Super nice kid.
And he
But
plays hard. He's one of those. He plays hard.
oh,
He's a
he don't take
practice
plays off at all.
August led. Like he's gonna always look great in training camp and in practice environments and preseason game. I just want to see him carve himself a role. I need to know that that wasn't a nepotism hire because he loves the McCaffrey family, the Peters.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard people say that to me as well. But I like Luke personally, man. I think he's a great kid, and I think he's a good football player. He's a football player that they've been finding that position. Obviously wide receiver for him, and he just has to grow into it. But I know there's times they've had him work in the backfield with Coach Lynn, Anthony Lynn, for different packages and things like that. So they see him as a valuable young guy. But I think with him and Ben especially, I think this year 2, is when you start to see their value show a little bit more.
The unit that I'm sure people want to get to, a good unit to close this one out. Washington's defensive line. Dietrich Wise has been the first person to practice the last couple days. Von Miller added to the room, future gold jacket player. Jacob Martin added. Javon Kinlaw, they're out there experimenting, putting Louisville on one edge, Von on the other, with Payne and Dorrance on the inside. What have you seen? You can't tell too much before the pads come on, but what have you seen out of the defensive line and the tenacity and intensity so far?
Man, they're the first thing you see is they're large, and it is much different looking. Eddie Goldman, much bigger players, and they're so big. The guys they brought in, that Duran looks small. Like he looks small compared to them. Johnny Newton, if you saw Johnny Newton right now, you would not recognize him. He's gotten bigger. He looks strong. Johnny Newton looks like he cut his hair, by the way, cut the locks off. He looks eerily similar to John Allen. Like from the back, that number and everything. He looks like John Allen.
We got new Allen in the building.
Yeah, but then when you see the burst, ooh, and I say that the guy's he's special with his burst. He really is. I think Johnny Newton about to have a go off year. I really believe that.
What's the rotation looking like between those guys? Like when the first snap, and not that it matters when you're in base and stuff, but what's the main rotation, or is it just going to be a cycle and committee of go eat?
Yeah, I think they're gonna mix it up, but I think as far as in that 4-3 or whatever, if they come out with 4, then it'll be Dorrance, it'll be Diedrich Wise on the edges, and it'll be Johnny and Duran in the middle. That's what you're gonna see. But then, as far as Diedrich Wise, Eddie Goldman, Sheldon Day. I mean, don't forget all these guys. They've got Sheldon had a really solid year last year for them. Smart player out of Notre Dame. So I mean, they're going to rotate. They're going to have fresh bodies. And then now you think about Von Miller, although he's listed as an outside linebacker, we already know he's going to be on that line coming around the edge, standing up sometimes too. So I just think, man, they don't have. Okay, maybe they don't have that premier. I mean, we know Von Miller is a premier sack artist, but we're talking about his
Right
age
now.
right
Yeah.
now. They don't have that one guy like a Trey Hendrickson or someone.
Mhm.
But I think by committee, they looked at last year. Dante Fowler had double digit sacks. Dorrance Armstrong only had five. His number's going to go up,
He missed time too,
and he
remember?
missed time,
Mhm.
absolutely. So
Mhm.
I think Von Miller, though, when you think about what he can do, Von Miller's capable of getting them 8 sacks this year. I don't know if it'll be double digits, but I think if Von Miller can get you 7 to maybe 8, you know that there's other times there's going to be pressure from him too. So it's going to open it up for other people. So I think they're going to do it by committee, but they've got a lot of bodies this year, which is really good.
Man, I want to see Von Miller play. Man, that's one of my favorite players since he came out in 2011, and he still's got the juice. I know for a fact we have not had a player here in the last 15 years with bend like that. Even at 36, that bend is different. The way that he gets off the outside shoulder of a tackle and can straight line to a quarterback, that is not something you can be taught. You either have that or you don't.
And that's exactly what they said. What Dan Quinn said. It's not something you can teach. You just have it. And when I saw his bend in some of the drills, I go back to Wednesday. I literally did a double take. Like, this man don't look 36 years old doing that. His bend, he looked like a rubber band. Like he literally dipped his shoulder,
Yep.
and it was almost as if his torso was almost going to hit the ground, and he just came right around. And it was
And it's
like,
easy for him. It's
it
effortless. That's what he
was.
does.
And it was on reserve. That's what I'm telling you. Like, this guy holding back until week one, then you'll see him turn up. But I do think that Von Miller signing was big now, and it wasn't a knee jerk signing. There were other guys out there that were available that they could have looked at and harder, who may have given them even more stability as far as contract length. But I think they're good with Von Miller's 1 year, because I know that he's gonna empty his tank out in Washington finally.
If you had to predict someone with double digit sacks on this team, I think it's Dorrance
It's
Armstrong.
Dorrance.
It's
It's
Dorrance.
Dorrance. Yes, absolutely. I think Dorrance gets to like 11 this year, 10 to 11 sacks. He doubles his number from last year. Just because of the Von Miller. Say what you want about Von Miller and the age and all that stuff. If he's lined up over here and you are an offensive coordinator, you are paying attention to where he is. His
100%.
name alone makes you stay up and wonder where he's going to be. So I think that helps everyone else on Washington's front line. As far as the defensive line, it's going to help them. Now you got to worry about where the heck Frankie is, because Vaughn on one side, Frankie on another side. Yeah, man, that's going to be pretty interesting. Mikey was a blitz demon at Michigan, by the way. Excelled at that as a
Yep.
corner coming from up that slot.
Yep.
Don't think Joe Witt doesn't see all this stuff. It's going to be interesting to put some heat on these quarterbacks.
And that's why they showed the priority to bring in another outside cornerback so Mikey can slide into his natural position. And that's why they
100%.
didn't panic at edge in the draft, because they're like, we're going to manufacture pressure from Louvu, from some of these guys we brought in. And Kinlaw, that's the piece. Everybody feels like we overpaid Javon Kinlaw. Adam
Absolutely
Peters
not.
has a soft spot for this guy. He drafted him in the first round in San Francisco. He sees something that not all of us can see, because he recruited the guy coming out of college and his first couple years in the league. How is he going to be implemented here? Just all up and down the line?
Yeah, he's a guy that you can move inside. He can be a three technique. He can do everything. But I think he's going to be on the outside a lot too. And if anything, what you see with him is this guy's an athlete. He's a big, large man. That's what I keep telling you, man. He's a big dude. So you think about him and his presence on the line, and he's got something to prove too. He understands that there's a lot of eyes on him. But I'll also say this: if you go back and look at Javon Kinlaw's numbers, his best year was last year in New York, and the Jets were a train wreck last year. So, for people to see that he did do well in New York in that first year, I think certain players, if they're in the right situation, they excel. They play better than maybe they have to play off their own accord when they have, other talent around them. It helps their game. And I think because of the other guys and the other veterans on that defensive line, I think Javon Kinlaw is going to have a really good year for Washington.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to see the group come together. And speaking of eyes being on and pressure being on someone, we need to see Deron Payne earn his
Hmm.
contract number this year because the team can get out of his deal in 2026. Big year coming up for Payne. He spoke to the media today. What have you seen from him? They've talked about a new added leadership and vocal energy out of him this year. What's been your observations of 94 so far this
Yeah,
offseason?
he's serious. Duran's he's a super nice guy, man. And I hate sometimes in our business where you have to break people's games down and then not their personalities. Like that's
Yeah.
my dude, man. He's a good dude. We joke about his cars. He's got a litany of
Oh,
cars,
you got a collection.
and I mean a real collection. Never saw in my life a Rolls Royce that needed to be charged. but the point is, he's a good dude and you want to see him do well. But sometimes I've always said Duran's too nice. I need nasty Duran on the field. I need that contract, seeking Duran that we
Alpha.
saw a couple years ago where he balled out. And I think you will see that this year. See, this is the thing. Guys who may have wanted out of Washington don't want that anymore. Guys who know that their time may be wearing, they still want to be in Washington. So they're figuring ways to stay in Washington. And I think look, the reason why Terry wants long term security. He doesn't want to be gone. He sees what's happening. Duran, I think, is the same way. He knows that this thing is turned around, new locker room, new field, new just everything is new, man. And you got a number five. You got a franchise quarterback. So I always say to a lot of these guys, you're not going to get a better situation somewhere else
Nope.
when you're already kind of entrenched here. If you just do what you're supposed to do, and I think Ron is going to have to do the Duran's going to have to do that this year. I think he's poised to have a nice bounce back year for sure.
It would be crazy if he had another one of those contract type years and he's the one that gives us the double digit sack. When you get that from the interior, you're definitely eating off the edge if you're getting that much pressure from the inside. But last player I'm going to ask you about, because, I'm pretty much asking you about the whole damn roster at this
It's all
point.
good. It's all good.
Laramie Tunzel, that mountain of a man at left tackle so far.
A wall.
What does he look like out there, man?
He's a wall, literally. And when people get to him, they stop. Yeah, I mean, literally, he holds people up at the line. Great footwork, just a big man, athlete. And the things that they were running some things away from him, just to get some work on the other side with Josh and when he was coming in, and also with Andrew, because Andrew's been one starting at right tackle. So, they've been running some things to the other side of the field, and I think that's predicated by the defense too. But you can just see, man, like the offensive line just looks bigger and different. They're nasty. And then, the good word of the day is that, bruh, Sam Cosmi might be back much sooner than we thought.
Whoa, I know he's a freak, man, because you usually hear that from skilled players. A lineman coming back
Never a lineman that large.
January
This,
ACL tear.
and you know what? I'm going to say it. And I don't think anybody will refute me who's been out there to see it with their own eyes, too. Sam looks like he's in the best shape I've ever seen him in. He looks damn good, fit and everything. Like he looks like he got stronger, but he looks thinner, but he's stronger. And just the fact that I remember seeing him like a couple months ago, and he looked good then, but I saw a little bit of a hitch. I don't see any of that now, and he was working. I mean, we're not really supposed to. They told us not to talk about this, so I can't really go in depth about it. But let me just tell you, he looks good. He looks really good,
And
and Dan Quinn actually said it. He said it in our press conference. That we wanted to make sure we heard it right. Now, I remember after Wednesday's practice, myself and David Aldridge were like, did he say that he could play week one? Like, I thought I heard that.
we're not taking it off the table that he might play week. Whoa.
Well, so when he said that, we were like, did we hear that? So I'm talking with JP Finley, and JP said, nah, he didn't say that. And I said, no, I'm telling you, that's what he said. David, bless his heart, yesterday before practice started, we were right there, asked Dan, did you say that? And he said, yeah, basically what he meant was, he can be eligible to come off the pup or something like that. I think what's going to happen is Sam's going to be on the pup list, but I think Sam Cosmi might be back by week 5. And that's way earlier than anyone anticipated. He's already like they had the physical and all. He's good, and hit his benchmarks. Like the guy's a freak, man. He really is, and I don't mean that in a negative way. He's
I love it.
he's
It's a freak of
this
nature.
guy. You know what it is? Sam played for some bad teams. And when you see what you have team wise, and you know that you could be the cog in this offensive line that could be with Sam Cosmi in this offensive
Got his
line,
extension,
it's
got his
a it's a
extension. Yeah.
it's a top 5 offensive line now. You mean you can't debate that. Laramie Tunsil is who he is. He's a 4 or 5 time Pro Bowler. Brandon Coleman's going to be better at guard. That's what he
He
started at
might
in
be a
college.
demon at guard, man, because I've been
Yeah,
saying from the get-go, that's a guard,
he was
man.
an All-American at guard in college at TCU, not tackle. So now Biadasz, I think Biadasz is Pro Bowl bound this year. He's one of the best centers in football. And then you go over to the guard spot, Cosme comes in, and then obviously Josh Connolly, I think, will be starting week 1. Man, that's a large line and it's an athletic line. I would be, I mean, just to see Jaden behind that is going to be, it's going to be frightening for defenses.
Very frightening, man. And giving Jaden more time to operate, I pray for your defenses because the guy, even when he didn't have the time, he still makes plays. It's beautiful that we can sit here and talk for an hour and 15 minutes, and we don't even have to spend much time on the quarterback. It's never been like that here because he's so good. He checks all the boxes, and just look at the way that players respond to him. Laramie Tunzel just got here. They look like the best of friends on the practice field already, man.
Yeah, when I talked to Ja'Cory, I asked him what does he see in number 5, being able to play with him, and he was like, he said, you know what I see? He said, I see a leader. I mean, just like not the superlatives of oh he's fast, great arm. He said, I see a leader. He's always trying to get people in the right spots. He's always encouraging. He's always there. I mean, damn, man, like that's crazy to for a second year player to be now not just your phenom, but your face and your calm before the storm. Jaden Daniels is now Washington's he's their presence. You know what I mean? Like he's the guy that they're going to be looking at to get them out of holes and tight spots because they believe what he did last year. He did everything but walk on water. So now they know you get this offensive line in front of them. You got some more weapons with Deebo out there, Jalen Lane to go with Terry and Zach. You got more speed in the backfield with Ja'Cory. And I'm keep telling people I think Demetric Felton makes this roster as the 4th back. It's just going to be something to watch, and Cliff is going to open up the bag this year. Believe me, I'm looking forward to it.
I don't take any of this shit for granted, man. I done been through the mud with this franchise. So having a quarterback that just keeps everything so calm, having a guy that I don't care how the game looks. If the game is in reach in the fourth quarter and he gets the ball, I don't care who's on the other side of the field. I think we're gonna win every time. That feels good that after 1 year we've already established that.
And that's what you need. I mean, when you get a quarterback that now is being recognized by league executives and things like that as a top 5 quarterback, that goes to show you that people don't think last year was a fluke. You know, when they keep talking about this nonsense about, oh, he's gonna have a sophomore slump. Stop it. Like those guys don't have those. Elite quarterbacks don't have sophomore slumps. You see each year they're getting better. They're getting better. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, sophomore years, by the way, second years they were MVPs. So Jaden Daniels is in the MVP conversation, and if this team plays like we think they're capable of playing, he's going to be a legit MVP candidate. And that's the thing that's just hard for people to accept that because this franchise has been devoid of that kind of quarterback play forever. Basically, you got to go back to the Super Bowl years, and those guys who won those Super Bowls weren't even franchise quarterbacks. They were they were just, I don't want to say 1 year wonders, but Doug Williams and Mark Rippon and Joe Theismann were uber hot those years that they won the Super Bowl. It just worked, to fit. But this guy is someone that you expect to be under center for the Burgundy and Gold for the next 15 years. And that's never been done here in Washington.
Yep, and I am looking forward to everything regarding that guy. First fan practice open to fans this Sunday, back together Sunday afternoon. Expect 5 in the offense, looking for get back and revenge from today, and expect to see Lake out there. I might be out there. I don't know yet. I'm gonna know by tomorrow if I'm gonna be out there
Let me
Sunday.
know. Hit me up if you out there, fam. For real. I'll
Course,
bring you on my show for sure.
of course, man. Lake, let folks know where they can find you on your way out and what you got cooked up for the rest of this preseason training camp going into the regular season.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. You can check me out on social media, Lake Lewis Jr. You can check out my show, the Lake Lewis Jr. Show, on YouTube. You can watch it there. You can subscribe to it via all the major podcast carriers, and you can also listen to it on Radio One, WOL in DC. And that on the radio, it's on Tuesdays, from 11 to noon. You can check out my writing for NFL writing for Heavy Sports, heavy.com. Got some other good stuff, man. Got some other really, really good stuff coming up that I'm really proud of and excited about. So just staying busy, man. Just staying busy.
Hell yeah, man. And keep them the Fan Fridays on Lake's channel, man. Y'all go hop on there with Lake and
got one coming up today at 5. Yep.
Share your Washington Burgundy and Gold fandom with our guy. Me and Lake are gonna be chopping it up on a weekly basis throughout the whole season, like we did last year, and this preseason and training camp period as we ramp up to the major stuff. And we may have a stadium deal officially voted in on August 1st. You think that's going to go through?
Yep. and I'm gonna say, yeah. Well, let's just
put it. Don't do it, Lake. Don't do it, Lake. Don't do it, Lake. You about to make some people really excited, Lake. They gonna go out on the grill after that one. Don't do it, Lake.
I think everybody will be happy. Put it like that.
There we go, man. Hey, give it time. Let them see it first.
Man, but nah, man, it's good times, man. This is all this stuff is needed. You know what I mean? And yeah, everything is good, man. They got the uniforms, the whole nine. So I'm excited about the direction the organization's going, and this just makes life easier for us, man. We're out there now, and all we have to worry about is X's and O's. I know the whole Terry thing is there, but that's going to take care of itself, I think, next week. And then we'll just be back to football, and that's all it's about, man. Is this team tries to run to a Super Bowl?
Hell yeah, man! It's coming, man. Super Bowl aspirations are finally realistic and not a delusional dream. That is me and Lake for today. Training camp day 3 in the books. The fans are out there again on Sunday, and like I said a little bit earlier, first live event me and Louis T, Rico, and Ed Oliver are doing August 24th. Lake, if you're not doing nothing on August 24th, come out to Crystal City Sports Pub. We're having a live podcast, 53-man projection and season record prediction, live pod meetup. So
what day was that? What day was that?
I'm going to send you all the effort. Sunday, it's the day after the Ravens game. The day after the Ravens preseason game.
So yeah, we'll be off then on that day for sure. So I'll try to come through for sure.
Pull up, man. We're going to be at Crystal City Sports Pub, not the restaurant on the Gentleman's Club, the sports pub in Crystal City. We're going to be having us a good time out there, and we're going to be talking all things Commanders. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Commander Rio, Lake Lewis Jr., we are out.